Hey YouTube, welcome back after a long hiatus. So this all may look a bit different than you last saw it. Center pumpkin, totally together. I may have showed some of that, but either way, he's entirely together. He has a limited slip differential in him now. He has all new races and bearings and seals. Oh my. He's been obviously assembled. The cage came in from ERA. That's what you're looking at right here. This pretty cage got nice and powder coated black. Some nice ARP. Wish you could see that. Let's see. Let's turn it around and see if we can get you a little light. The ARP 12-point stainless cover screws or cover bolts. The brake discs are on. The calipers were just reman calipers, but I powder coated them red because, well, the front ones are going to be red and I thought it looked cool, so it's my car, I'll do what I want. The discs are just standard off-the-shelf OEM stuff. Let's see, we have some safety wiring to hold these lower brackets on. The pass-through tube is on. They had to shim some per the ERA instructions to make sure that these holes here lined up with the ones in the cage where the bolt goes through. So with a new battery, which apparently we're getting close, we'll switch over and we will show you installing the lower control arm, the other one on this other side here. So I'll be right back. Did I say we're moving straight to reassembly? I lied. What I'd like to show you next is these are the lower control arms, as we talked about, have full rebuild kits on them. And what we have behind door number 2 is an assortment of washers and seals and things because Jaguar likes lots of parts. Let me see if I can kind of walk through these. This inner band you see here is an inner race for the needle bearings. I'm not going to push it out because I don't want to take a chance on needle bearings falling out. That outer little silver piece is pressed in. I just used a vise, but that's the actual race or the outer race for the needle bearings. This is the inner race. This little wooden piece is a holy smokes, they had a word for it. Anyway, it takes the place of the metal rod that will go through here eventually, and it holds these pieces in place so that I can knock this down into the carrier, and then as you'll see in a minute, as I drive that rod through, they'll come flying out the other side. They just hold things in place until I get the actual real rod in. So what goes on next is a thrust washer. I've pre-greased all these. There is a greaser on the bottom, but I want to make sure that everything on here is good to go, and I will still pump it up full of grease, but I want to make sure that everything's fully covered, because if you just pump it in with a grease gun, there's no guarantee that it'll get evenly over everything. On the outside of the thrust washer is this little grease seal. On the outside of that guy is this grease seal protector thing that doesn't fit on there tight, which kind of weirds me out, but that's the way it fits. And last, there is the final exterior washer, and that assembly you just saw is here and here and there and there and 4 more times on the other control arm. So everything was pre-greased. What we have to go through all of that is this big long bar threaded on both ends, and we will start at one side and use a dead blow hammer to drive him all the way through. Even with the dead blow, I'm going to use a kind of a sacrificial nut. This one's in pretty good shape, but I'll still replace it because I have a whole bunch of extras. To use that to drive it all the way through. We'll put this up on the stand, and Mr. Jacob and I will get to installing. Okay, so now we're going to start putting this big guy in here. If we'll get lucky, it'll slip a little of the way. Just go ahead and tilt it back, Jacob. Tilt it back. Keep tilting. Well, we'll put you back in later. There's a cross tube in here that basically just keeps dust off. Well, this is going to be embarrassing if this side wants to be ornery. I didn't tighten the other one on purpose. They're looking a little long. Here, let's come from the top. You go ahead and go back, straight up, straight up, straight up. Okay. Well, that stinks. The other side was far more cooperative. I was going to do it first so you guys didn't get to see me fail, but haha. Surprise, surprise. Alright, well, we'll be right back. Gonna shorten those little wooden stubs in there just a hair. So, man, we can't shorten them much though, can we? Yeah, that one definitely is too long. Alright. Okay, we're back. Let's try again. So we shortened those up on the sander. Like I said, it's just, okay, so this is fitting pretty tight. We want it a little tight. We just don't want it like impossible tight like it was earlier. That one's in the right spot. Oh, Bubba, you gotta hold it up, okay? You hold it right there. Okay. So, now, you've got to grease up the shaft. See, nobody even remembers Beavis and Butthead. Grease up the shaft, Beavis. Alright. Okay, so come up right there. Alright, so little tap a tap. Tap a tap tap. Now we gotta find that tube that Jacob knocked out of here because he didn't want it. Why'd you knock it out, Jacob? You're just making things difficult. So this, again, goes in through here. Everything's held in by that pin. So the other side, was in there super snug, so all was well. This one's not. Now, see, got that pin going a little bit. It'll kind of self-align a little to some extent. Oh, come on. If it all goes well, we'll get to the other side. Get close. I'm going to go double check that our wooden dowel is still in alignment. Let's not pull. Just like that, kids. See, the dowel popped out the other side. And now we have the bolt all the way through. I can take my Michael Jackson glove off. Let's get some nice, shiny, fancy nylock nuts. So we'll have, these are, what were they, Jake?
Allen nuts.
What size were they?
No idea. 3/4.
Hey, see? He's learning. And we'll take that one off and let's see, is it beat up or not? No, it's still pretty. Super spinny. That's why I got the impact. Ah! Okay. Jacob says, hey, Dad, why don't you get a 3/4 inch box in? Is that what you said?
No.
Why didn't you say that? Okay, so let's get a block of wood, and we'll do like we did the other side there. So for the YouTubes, what we're doing here, I don't want these flopping around and whacking onto my nice powder coat somewhere else they're not supposed to. Go ahead and lean it. And those pieces of wood will keep them up. So this is, again, upside down, and these are pointed out in the air. They'll be out flat, and in the next few videos, we'll show the on the hubs. Oh, and I'll get to show off the fancy like pen drive hubs that are oh so sexy. You'll be so impressed, I promise. And these I'm trying to get even. Here, Jack, can you come over here and hold the wrench? Hold it and don't let it slap into stuff, okay? Just kind of hold it. It's going to jiggle, but it won't turn hard. Okay, can you come on this side? Got it? Yep. Come out. Can you put it back on there?
Yep.
Alright, boys and girls, this lower control arm, I'm sure there's a specific torque setting, I'll go look it up, but as of right now, that's fully captured in there, not going to fall out. This is a long time coming, some final assembly here. Let's go ahead and put Jacob on the other side. We'll go ahead and tighten that one up.
Yep.
Same spot. I'm going to turn the camera to make sure they can see. Switch sides. Again, we're trying to get them. I'm trying to get them kind of even, so it's not sticking out a mile on one side, not the other. You on?
Yep.
It's twisting your side, isn't it?
Yep.
How far is it twisted? Yeah. Hey, use the box end. Okay, there's less chance of it slipping when you do that. Here, hold, let go for just a minute. Let go for just a minute. Okay. Put it back on there. Let go. Still quite a bit of slack, right? Go ahead and put your wrench back on there. There we go. Now there's no slack. A little bit. Go ahead and put it back on there. Oh, there's still slack on there. Okay. Well, YouTube, unless you want to sit here and watch us run these heads in, but the point of what I'm doing is trying to keep these even and running all the slack out. I don't want to draw that. Can you go ahead and put the wrench on there, Jacob? On that side? I don't want to bind this up and make it too tight, but I do want to run all the slack out. Whoa. Oh, not now. Let's see. Okay, there's no more spin left in those washers. I'm going to take that to mean I've taken... Oh, there's some left. You know, YouTube's, I'm going to stop while I'm behind. I'm a little surprised that that actually has as much slack as it does. I don't remember it being like that before, but either way. Also, how do I get all over? It's all yucky now. There's dust on. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, I think that's all for this video. The next one we'll get to show off the new pen drive hubs, and we'll be setting the hub replay, which I think I've got my head around. Should be a neat video. I don't know of anything out there, people doing it other than just talking around it. We have to use the press again and a little bit of measuring, and that will be probably in a couple weeks. Thanks, bye. Alright, YouTube, you ready to laugh? Remember how we're done? Oh yeah, we're done. See this right here? That's the bracket where the front control arm goes. Which end do you think's the front control arm? You think it would be back here on the back side or up on the front where the pinion is? Oh, that's right. It's up here. They're both on backwards. So I am the official doof of the day. Okay, wait, hold on. Before we punch the button. Yes, now, after you watch that nice little bit, forward control arm, front of the pumpkin. Yeah, it's upside down, but either way, we all good now. Grease zerks are pointed the right way. Interesting part is I always assume these little skid marks here were from it hitting the ground or something, and apparently that's, I guess, from these dropping down on the axles or something else, because it's not from that, because the grease zerks have to be pointing the way they're pointing, and which is up or now, but flipped over it'll be pointed towards the ground, and all looks good though. That's it. This time for real, I promise.